guys, welcome back to Jim's Montreal beer review. Actually, just came back from Toronto yesterday, a few days ago actually. Brought back some interesting beers, filmed a few videos, you've probably seen one or two of them by now. I'm also probably going to do a preview of the beers bought, but unfortunately you won't be seeing me reviewing them until probably January, February, because next week I'm actually leaving for 3 weeks to Russia again. Probably be making some videos from there, but the beers I brought back from Toronto probably have to wait for a little bit. I'm going to wrap out my season 4 almost entirely in the next few weeks or so. And today is episode 15, and we're doing Weltenburger Kloster Asam Bock. It's a German beer. It's a doppelbock, and it's actually an abbey beer. Usually when you think of abbey beers you think of Belgium, but in this case it's a German Bavarian abbey. It's called Weltenburger, which is the Kloster, it just means the Kloster Abbey. And they brew quite a range of beers, and all of them are quite, well critically acclaimed and stuff like that. Just a quick shout out actually. Recently I subscribed to a new beer reviewer, or probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. Check him out. The Grand Old Hoppery, and he does Hoppery beer sessions. Really good stuff and really good beers he's actually reviewing lately. So let's get talking about the doppelbock style of beers, and then we're actually going to review the beer. Right, so doublebocks is a strong example of the bock style, which in turn is a strong lager. Essentially these are malty beers, really malty and not very high in hops at all. Back in the old days, the monks considered this to be the liquid bread to sustain them during Lent, because it was so bready and high in malts. They believe they got most of the nutrition out of it without having to eat something during the day, because they're not allowed to really. Nowadays these beers tend to be a bit stronger, probably about 6 to 9-10% ABV. This example, Weltenburger Kloster Asam Bock, is it's actually 6.9, so about 7%, which is probably about the same as the Paulana Salvatore I reviewed in the early days of my beer reviewing venture. Other famous examples of the style are Einger's Celebrator as well, and Weinstephaner's Caribbean beers. So these are multi-rich caramel, toffee kind of beers, with a nice bready mouthfeel to them, sometimes medium-bodied, sometimes even medium to full-bodied. Sometimes their alcohol is pretty well masked, sometimes it's a bit apparent, but you know what, it's not the kind of beer that's going to be considered boozy, especially if it's a good German proper example. Now, I've never had this one. I saw it in the LCBO, the liquor stores of Ontario, and I picked up this bottle after my friend actually recommended I do that. And now they discontinued this beer, probably because of the seasonal limitation. Maybe it's going to be available next year. Well, we're going to see. This beer bottle is actually about to expire on me. That's why I can't remember to review it. It's still not expired, so let's do it now. So yeah, I forgot to mention it's a standard German size 500ml bottle. That greenish brown kind of glass. The label is nothing special. It's kind of nice. The design is kind of plain, but it's nice. As with most German beers, actually, you don't get much description on them. It just says brewed according to the German purity law of 1516, and it's a strong beer from Kelheim, which is in Bavaria, Sicily, in Germany. The cap is nice. It's got the logo, the cross, and the name of the brewery. I don't know if you can see this, probably not. But for the glass, Beer Advocate suggested you use either a Stein mug or a Pilsner glass, and I decided to go with this Pilsner glass from Schwarzbach. So open it up. I tend to like doppelbocks. They're not my favorite style. I'm more more an ale kind of guy than a lager kind of guy. But I tend to respect them, and I would never turn down a doppelbock. And I was excited to try different examples of this style, I guess. As I've heard, and it's actually becoming quite apparent, it's a darker beer. Usually doppelbocks are reddish brown. This one is, I'd say, just brown. not hazy, it's clear, dark brown. But you can still see it's dark brown, it's not, you know, it doesn't look like black. Light brown head to it, kind of creamy actually. Loads of bubbles around the glass. I usually get this actually in this type of glass. Nice roasty maltiness, chocolate and caramel. I think the most double bocks you get more of that bready and caramel smell to it, but this one has some nice roastiness to it. A bit of floral happiness in the background. A bit of smokiness as well, actually. So it's a bit different from some other examples of the style, I guess. Cheers, let's try it. Definitely has a syrup-like body to it, so medium to full body. And yeah, it's a bit. It tastes like a doppelbock, but it also reminds me a little bit of that Schwarzbier, you know, character to it. You know, it starts out with a caramel sweetness, some nice malts, a touch of maybe cherry, and then the finish is very roasty. You get some dark chocolate, even coffee notes actually. Good lacing. Yeah, it's like a combination of the two styles, I think. Maybe like three parts doppelbock and maybe 2 parts Schwarzbier, which are both lager types, by the way. This is quite interesting. The alcohol is pretty well masked. I feel it a little bit. Considering this is almost an expired beer, the lacing is well impressive. This one. Like it. It's very sweet though. And today I'm pretty much in the mood for sweet beers sometimes, so this might be a bit of an issue. But I'll get back to you. You'll see how my final thoughts compare to the thoughts right now. It's an exceptional beer. And as I'm drinking more of this, and I'm almost done with it, really, I've begun to, taste more and more different things, and it's very complex for a doppelbock. I'll give it that. You get that nice breadiness, a bit of caramel, pretty strong toffee notes, quite smooth overall, a bit of that syrupy-like texture to it. But you know what? It's very complex for doppelbock. You also get some roastiness, some dark chocolate, even coffee, maybe espresso beans. Not very strong, but more subtle in the background. Also get some smokiness as you drink more of it, and the warming sensation starts to come through as you drink more of it. I mean, the alcohol is pretty well masked, but you do feel it a little bit. And if you don't really serve this too warm, it's gonna be tasty and pretty easy drinking. So the drinkability is quite good, especially for doppelbock. I mean, if you know what you expect, then you won't be in for a surprise. Might even change my perspective on the entire style, because doppelbocks are an interesting style, but I never found them to be anything entirely for me. But if all doppelbocks were like this, hell, I'd probably change my perspective for sure. Even develops a little bit of that nuttiness, maybe hazelnut notes, and a touch of honey as well. So you usually don't get that in your typical doppelbock. Even the sort of pinnacle of the style, maybe like Paulaner's Salvatore. That was nothing special, really. So yeah, exceptional beer. I was debating between a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10, but I'm probably going to still give this a 9. But it's closer to about 9.5. But since I don't give half points, 9 is great. It's an exceptional beer. Just leaving a bit of space, for future research and future, tastings. Maybe I'll find even a better doppelbock. But you know what? This is the best I've had so far. 9 out of 10 for Weltenburger Kloster Asam Bock. Highly recommend this. Even if you're not a fan of stronger malted beers, still give it a try. It's well worth it and well deserves the reputation it's got. Thanks my friend Stefan for recommending this to me back in like May or something. Finally get to try this. It's better late than never. And that's about it about this review. This beer, it's a very good beer. before I sign out, I want to give a shout out to Chad from Chad9976, Chad's Beer Reviews. I just won his Chad's Beer Reviews trivia challenge. I didn't really expect that, but I'm actually going to get a periodic table from him, and I'm excited. Yeah. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. It was fun to play that thing, first of all, and it's always nice to get something useful for free. And so yeah, stick to good beer, guys. See you guys later. More beers are coming up before I leave, and then in the future, you have more beers as well from me. I'm loaded with good stuff, so keep it